coming at you from New Jersey, the capital of misery and the place where metal forgot to die.
This is the Here Lies Metal Too Many Notes New Music Review. I am Samantha R.
And I'm Maledictus, and today I will be roll through today, roll of eternity. Welcome! Another review? Oh my god! What is this?
We're always reviewing.
We are, that's what we're mostly doing.
Today we're reviewing a band called Witchtower.
Witchtower? Witchtower? Is it this tower?
It's the Witchtower.
Oh, okay.
The Witchtower.
Makes sense.
With their album, Voyeur. Witchtower is a heavy metal band from Jaén. Is that how you say that? Jaén, Spain.
Jaén, Spain.
We're going to apologize to the Spanish people. Yes. They formed in 2012, and they feature the founding member, Victor M. de la Chica, on vocals and guitars. And joining him on later albums, we have Antonio J. Morias on guitars, Miguel Moreno on bass, and Udem on drums.
Just Udem.
Just Udem.
Okay.
Voyeur is their fourth album, follow-up to 2020's Witch's Domain, which featured on our 2020 Best of list at number 13.
So we've been watching these guys.
So yes, this is not our first go-around with this band. Mm-hmm. And one second. It came out on March 28th, independently on streaming and Bandcamp, via CD and 12-inch vinyl on Unsilent Tombs Records.
Yeah. I like that, these days you can get stuff of this quality independently. It's just a gift we have today. So anyway, it's now time for the official Here Lies Metal 5-point bi-directional classification scale, including the categories of genre loyalty, listenability, production style, musical complexity, and just plain fun. Neither note of this spectrum means good or bad. Let's go.
All right, the first scale, the scale of true to nonconformist. We're getting a 1 for true heavy metal. We have great riffs. We have hot guitar solos, a passionate, clear vocal, twin guitars. It's heavy metal. It's what you think of when you think of heavy metal. But in particular, I'm going to say it's like a brooding, dark style of heavy metal. They most remind me of like Uli era Scorpions, maybe like Blue Oyster Cult. So like kind of like more occult sounding, dark vibe on the heavy metal.
Yeah, darker rock. I mean, I'm totally hearing that Golden Age Scorpions. Totally. That's like the best era of Scorpions, I would say. We're also getting, that darker new wave British heavy metal sounds, obviously in there. These guys are kind of disciples of that. Track 3 even has that kind of traditional new wave British heavy metal bounce, the kind that just makes new wave British heavy metal, that drum and bass kind of bounce. Maybe, thinking maybe some Angel Witch or Holocaust influence, or some other band that, Metallica covered on the Garage Days album. To compare them with more like recent bands that are also influenced by these older bands that we just, every single band we just mentioned before. They kind of, I got a lot of like the now defunct In Solitude, kind of vibe, which is an awesome band. Check them out. And even early Ghost, like two very catchy bands from Sweden, two very easy listening bands from Sweden.
I think they're a little bit more hard edged than either of those bands.
Yeah, I think they definitely are more hard edged.
A much smaller band they might be is Nature, which I'm wearing right now, which is another kind of dark heavy metal band.
Yeah, there you go. That's another great example of Nature. Absolutely.
Scale of Terror. We're getting a 5 on the opposite of Terror, Distorted Pop. This is a very musical album, melodic, clear vocal. There's a lot of hooks on everything, and the whole thing is very emotive and engaging, and a lot of nice heavy metal riffs. It's like there's just nothing harsh on this at all.
Easy listening. The scale is pinned at 5 hard. If it could go to 6, it would break through 5 and go to 6. There's a wide separation and fidelity between all these crystal clear instruments recorded at a gentle level. And that results in a very pleasing oral experience. There's no crushing guitars, distortion, or harsh vocals. This guy sings. The guitars, have this natural, overdriven tone. easy on the ears, and you're given plenty of sonic breathing room everywhere in every song here. You got a lot of catchy melodic songs here that that give you a lot of they'll repeat the nice riff. They give you everything you want here. It's easy listening. That's all I can say. That's not an insult. Okay, next scale. Fisher Price or high production. I gave this a 4.5. The recording is so delicate and gentle, like a piece of origami or something. Everyone is playing, at the level, the experienced recording engineer, said would make their album sound professional. He always like, you got to be at this level. You can't be too loud or it won't sound good. They all like took his advice and they listened. They weren't all trying to be louder than each other or anything. It wasn't like, James and Lars, drowning everyone out. Like everyone was fair here. There's just wide gaps in separation between every instrument. You can hear every instrument so clearly, so concisely. Like everyone in this band has equal access to the soundscape of the spectrum. No one's left out. Everyone's equal. And the overall tone seems to be mastered in a way that replicates that early 80s new wave British heavy metal, like golden age soft warm tone. It sounds old. It sounds like it was made in 1981. They did a very good job in replicating that sound and mastering. So that's gives you points for high production right there.
I just want to say in particular that I love the tone on the guitar solos. They're very retro and classic, obviously, but they sound hot. Hot. Steam is coming off of those licks, and they are played with burning emotion. So it's very hot experience. Scale of notes.
Not enough notes. Too many notes.
Not enough notes and too many notes. We're getting a 4 for quite a lot of notes.
A lot of notes.
What really stands out to me, there are some, I just mentioned the guitar solos, there are some very intense guitar solos. Like, some of them, maybe I should have given this a higher score, because some of them are definitely just, showing off. We're just showing off.
Show off. That's what they do.
But they're all, very musical and intricate. And also, not to slouch off for the rest of the band, we've got a very strong bass presence on here. The bass is playing things, which we always like. Sure. We always know.
We're always looking out for the bass. We're always looking out for you.
I hear the bass.
No one loves you.
Album of the year.
We're looking out for you.
I can hear the bass.
We love you, bass player. Okay. Yeah. So, first, I felt like, I'm listening to this album, and there's certain things that stand out at you. And I really like that heavily chorused gothy kind of riff on track 4. It wasn't very metal. It was more goth. I really like that. I really like that sound. It was just perfect. It just captured the age so well. But anyway, the songs are lengthy, melodic, full of tributes to the classic sound that made metal possible. And well is beyond that. This is a clear, new wave British heavy metal, high register vocals, like it's 1981, as you would expect in an album that sounds like this. Sophisticated chord progressions, the double guitar Thin Lizzy solos, as it seemed very obligatory in an album, that's supposed to sound like 1981. Iron Maiden gallops, new wave British heavy metal bounces, all the early, all these early metal methods, and I think, when you're replicating all those early metal methods, you get a score leaning on the right side of the spectrum, because it takes a little bit more skill to do that stuff. The early metal was, a little more skillful, it was definitely at a higher brow kind of skill level back then in that time. So, yeah.
Our final scale, the scale of fun to focused. We are getting a 2.5, which is a kind of fun album, which is kind of rare, honestly, because most, bands we rate as a 1 for true, just doing a straight, straight homage to a genre, usually get like a 1 or a 1.5 for fun. But as we mentioned, this is a very dark sounding album, So despite, creating all these nostalgic riffs, classic tone, and the catchy vocal melodies and riffs, it's pensive, though. It sounds pensive. And if you're pensive, you're not fun, are you? Can we say that's fun?
Yeah. I would say that takes us away from the fun. It takes maybe
I refuse to call a heavy metal worship album focused, I guess. So that's why it's getting a 2.5, where it's almost in the middle. But, this is not party time heavy metal. This is more like my witch ex-lover cast a hex on me, and now a shadow follows me everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm terrorized day and night. So, yeah.
Yeah, just the whole idea that fact it's called Voyeur, it just seems kind of like this dark kind of overtone, of, it's not like fun, new wave British heavy metal. I think it's, the wide spectrum of new wave British heavy metal. Some of it is almost like hair metal, some of it's, doom, some of it's, a little bit darker. I think this kind of falls under that kind of area, it's definitely like, it kind of has this kind of like dark sexiness to it, I don't know, just the name Voyeur.
Yeah, it's like they sound worried, or they're like, like trying to woo you with the music.
Some kind of dark sort of seduction, maybe some sort of intrigue like that. But it's sound, but it's got a really unique sound to it. And I think, and the whole like sort of gothy sound of it just works so well with what they're doing here. It's really a good tone for a new wave British heavy metal. It's very, like, even though it's kind of trying to sound like something from 1981, it has its own kind of original tone to it for the most part. It has a uniqueness to it all on its own. So yeah, this is a really good album, I have to say.
All right, the art is by Luciana Nedalea. Apologies on pronunciation. What do we have here?
Well, there's like a ghosted out image in the back, so it's kind of hard. You're really gonna have to look what's going on there, because it's really not, it's kind of ghosted out.
I see like what looks like a hydra in the back.
Yeah, like a mythical creatures.
There's some mythical creatures.
Like a griffin or something. Some kind of lion with horns. Is that a griffin? No, it's got wings on it.
Looks like there's a lot of people at the bottom.
Some people there looking at these things.
But you're definitely not supposed to focus on this.
Yeah, I'm trying to notice little details.
This is more a subliminal message.
Yeah, I feel like the artwork on the back is commissioned. I mean, it's probably some classic piece of artwork, I'm thinking.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it looks like something from the oldie-timey days.
Anyway, we have some kind of sigil in the middle here, some kind of
a crest,
sign, a crest.
Like a crest. Yeah,
some kind of order.
Yeah. It looks almost very culty.
Obviously a little bit of Illuminati or something.
You can see the word, Voyeur in there. It says Voyeur, but it's very weird.
It's got some eyes on it.
Very, it's looking Voyeur.
One of the eyes has like horns.
Yeah, it's watching you, Voyeur.
There's an unknown orifice.
Yeah, we don't know what that goes to, but there's a lot of eyes and snakes and eyes and wings.
The snakes have wings.
And some sort of cosmic
Those are like vipers.
Yeah, those are vipers. Oh, they're cobras, maybe. I don't know. And there's some sort of cosmic, cosmicality up here. There's some sort of cosmic sort of thing going on up on the top of it. Stars and rays, illumination, illumination, knowledge, right?
If you zoom in, there's like some cracks on the.
There's some cracks on this. It's like the Triforce, right, from Zelda, right? It's almost like the Triforce.
It's called a triangle.
Triforce.
That's a triangle.
Yeah.
Another occult symbol.
Yeah, a lot of occult symbols. Perhaps, this album cover looks very simple, but I don't think that's what they had in mind. I think they had a lot going on
There's
here.
a lot of symbols.
There's a lot they wanted to say here.
Symbolism.
I think for the more sort of artistically initiated mind, a more observant person would notice these little details. You're kind of really looking at this, and it's really interesting to you. So yeah,
I like that there are eyes and the coils of the snakes.
Yeah, each this is just little eyes down here. Each it's there's a lot of watching, voyeur.
I'll be honest. I'm not usually someone for lyrics, so I didn't really pick up on any themes.
Yeah. Maybe perhaps also maybe should have analyzed the lyric. That's one thing we really didn't do.
That's never been our forte.
Yeah. Maybe we should. I don't know. But
I think the only lyrics that stood out was the chorus of Sherry Lee.
Yeah, it was Sherry Lee.
He's singing about a woman.
I thought he was saying Jerry Lee,
Sherry Lee.
It's both names of a female you might desire, right?
Jerry Lee.
It's a name.
Something a woman be named in the 80s.
Yeah, it's totally an 80s name. A girl with big hair, like some Filipino girl with big hair, Jerry Lee. Right?
Okay. In conclusion, Maldictus already gave his in conclusion.
Yes.
But this is a beautiful album. Obviously, we loved the last album we heard from them. I'm not honestly as maybe I've given the other albums a listen or two, but haven't For this album, I would say it's actually a bit more rocking than their last album. Their last album had some more slow sections, some more kind of more rock and roll songs,
Yeah.
whereas this is much more heavy metal. Not that it's super heavy or anything.
It's kind of dark too. It's a dark tone.
But yeah, it is a little bit darker than the last album too. But if you like the last album, you'll definitely like this one. They didn't really push themselves in the genres. You know, they're playing heavy metal. They're still playing their dark heavy metal, and that's what they do really well. It's a beautiful album. It's nice.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's
And
like,
I'm sure we'll be talking about it on this year's year end, as we
pleasing.
did in 2020.
it's pleasing to the ear. You know, it's always a relief when it's like, oh, that's a very gentle album. You feel good after it.
Well, that's what Maledictus thinks.
I like that. Yeah.
I'm like, let's review an album. And he winces automatically.
Ears are so delicate at my age. They're so delicate and so sensitive.
Okay.
So yes.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
This has been the Here Lies Metal 2 Minute Notes New Music Review. I was Samantha.
I was Maledictus. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you like it, right? You hit the thumbs up, right? And you hit the bell so you know when we're making new videos. All those things that the YouTubers say to you. I've never been good at this. So, yeah. And we'll see you again with another review or some kind of content soon. Maybe it's time for one of those album episodes. I don't know. We'll see. So, folks. All right. So, we'll see you again soon. Very soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.